So today I want to show off the stadium in Pacifica, but more specifically the car park, which is actually featured in one of the very first missions for Phantom Liberty. There will be kind of vague spoilers, I guess, not really in relation to the story as such, but yeah, okay, maybe a little bit, but mostly just the environment itself, because this place is really interesting, and it's always struck me as quite strange how this is one of the entrances to Dogtown, which you can never actually get to. This is never used. The only entrance is actually in Pacifica itself. So as you can tell, this is the car park. The lighting is a little bit different in here, and I'm not entirely sure why. It's probably something to do with the time of day, maybe. I've wanted to show off this place for a while, and I'm surprised I haven't actually done it sooner, mostly because it looks gigantic, and truthfully it is pretty gigantic. Very similar to Cyanosia as well, is that, you know, it looks bigger than it actually is, and that's kind of the case with the car park. First thing which I want to show off are these little holes that actually lead up to the surface, so you can look through them and see like parts of the stadium. These places are pretty similar to the Cyanosia ones in the way that there isn't a skybox per se, but these areas don't actually go out into the stadium. They go out into a little weird part kind of in between the stadium, I suppose. And also probably the best way of showing it is from above, where you can see all of these little holes here are what you're looking out of, pretty much. There's a lot of these little squares that are laying around, and I believe that these are the tops of these gigantic pillars here, and they provide like a pretty interesting path to kind of show us how these little glimpses into the above work. But yeah, this is above. We get some weird little crosses. I don't really know what they're about, and there's a good few of these, but you know, they're all there for atmosphere, which makes absolute sense. If you're wondering what this is above me, this is the area which you go to with Kurt Hansen. This area actually does just despawn. It only exists for the mission, but for whatever reason, all of the props still stay here. I don't really know how that works, but yeah, that's what that is, if you're wondering. So let's try and have a look at the car park itself. Obviously it's extremely dark when you get in this place, and thankfully the lighting's a little better. It's not perfect by any means, so apologies. But this is the bottom of the car park, and I feel like this is maybe the most interesting part of it. You can see that there's actually a lot of debris down here, like these gigantic car piles, and actually a surprising amount of detail. Some weird little bits of floating objects, don't really know what they're about, but generally speaking, unlike say Cyanosia, where that is just, you know, empty, this is the complete opposite. This is actually rammed pack full of details, which is pretty cool. I can imagine that a great portion of this is truly just copied and pasted, but it does make me wonder why this is all down here, when to my knowledge you can never really see any of this. It's so dark, like there's no real way of telling that this is down here, you know. But anyway, that's kind of the most interesting part of the car park. If you're wondering what's sort of like beyond the playable area, it's more of the same stuff really, just kind of like walkways which are never used, but here just to you know, create an illusion essentially. And the car park does end all the way back here, so it doesn't go on forever, and obviously the detail does start to fall off kind of the further back we get. There's nothing hidden in here. There's like nothing really, I would say, of interest, but what does personally interest me is this bottom bit here, and just how ram-packed it is full of objects. And you know, it's easy to start jumping to conclusions, but a part of me does wonder if maybe at some point there was an idea that we could get to the bottom, because I mean, if you think that this is the playable area, like you can only really see like very faint silhouettes. So, you know, it just seems a bit bizarre to me. This top bit here is what you follow through with the mission itself. And around this area, again, like there's nothing really super crazy on the go. We have like this caved in part, which doesn't have anything behind it. You can see how contained it is, and following it all the way down as well, we have like this door which you can force open, a little bit of lore on the go, and then this place here, which eventually takes you out into more of the stadium, and you get the idea, right? This kind of leads to the stadium itself. But essentially that is the car park. Like, I'm not going to sit here and waste your time. It's a really interesting location, but it doesn't have anything secret here. It's all very much as you would expect, and that's fine. You know, it serves a purpose extremely well, and this was one of my favourite locations in Phantom Liberty. As someone who obviously follows cut content and the idea of Cyberpunk changing throughout development, being able to see a car park to the Pacifica Stadium's really cool, and to know that once upon a time, in kind of the context of the game's lore, this just would have been usable, you know, and look how huge it is. Like, it's really cool. It's really interesting. So anyway, I won't waste any more of your time. I hope this was enjoyable. If it was, feel free to leave a like on the video. Thank you so much, guys, and as always, I will indeed catch you lot in a bit. What in the fuck have I done here? Oh, okay, I'm blind now. Cheers, guys. Catch you in a bit.